Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out, right? Welcome to my writing area, which I have been neglecting because I've been busy with other stuff, but I'm getting back on it. I promise. And I'm still working on Command Your Morning. So that's the next book coming out. It was supposed to come out this month. I'm not going to make it, I'll just be honest, but I am working on it and hopefully I'll get it out in the next few weeks, right? So, but there's exciting things going on with books and stuff, but I'm going to save that for something different. I do want you to pick up a copy of the Book of James, though, study guide. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on buymeacoffee.com/Jeannie Ollinger. You can get it there, the ebook there. And I will say this, that there have been, we just printed 500 copies, and my brother Marcus is going to be picking them up our today, there tonight, something like that. But we just printed 500 more copies through somebody, a supporter, who is just going to continue to pay for the publishing printing cost of the Book of James. I'm humbled and honored and wowed and relieved. Now I've got 5 other books I need supporters for, right? So because we need to do the printing of the Making of a Leader. We're going to try to do that in the next couple of weeks. I will be caught up with the past printing cost hopefully this week, and then we'll be moving forward. It's all about moving forward, right? As a matter of fact, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today on Peace Out. We're going to talk about, we've been talking about the pit, and we talked about some people who were in the pit and how God just kind of crawls in the pit with us. He crawls in those dark spots. He crawls in those difficult situations of life, and the things we're going through. They don't scare him, and he doesn't throw in the towel. He doesn't walk away. He actually walks up to us and comes through them with us, right, and carries us. But what happens after? Jonah didn't stay in the belly of the well, right? The well said, this rebel is making me sick. He threw him up, right? Daniel didn't stay forever in the lion's den. He came out in the morning. David didn't stay in the cave. He actually fulfilled God's prophecy. He became the king, right? So nobody stayed in the pit. Nobody stayed in the dark places. So what happens when God brings us out? And I thought, you know what? I bet there's a scripture about that. And I found it this morning. As I was drinking my first cup of coffee, and I was thinking about it, and David talked about it in Psalm 40. And I was like, really? He did. He said, it starts with, I waited patiently for the Lord. That's honorable, isn't it? But we're going to find out later, he wasn't quite as patient as he wanted us to think. Right? I waited patiently for the Lord, and he listened to me, and he heard my cry. We've been talking about that a lot this week too, how when we cry out to God, he hears us. He even hears the stuff we ain't got words for. He hears the stuff that the big sigh. There's all these emotions behind it. We don't even have words to put behind it to explain it, right? That's okay. It says he heard us, and he brought me up out of a horrible pit. He brought David out. Now, we don't even know exactly which pit David's talking about. Was he talking about when he beat Goliath? Was he talking about being in the cave running from Saul? Was he talking about was he talking about a literal pit, or a figurative pit? We know he literally stayed in a cave running from Saul, right? And he says this, he says, I called out to God, he heard me, he brought me out of the pit, out of the miry clay. And I would liken that to sticky situations, because miry clay, if you've ever walked in clay, it's sticky as all get out. And when you're trying to walk, it's sticky, and it can be slick too. It can be slick as snot. It's hard to walk on, right? It can be one or the other, depending on what type of clay it is, or how much sand is mixed in, how much sand is not mixed in, right? It can be so we can say it's a sticky situation. But listen to what he did then. He says, and he set my feet on a rock. Well, who's our rock? Jesus is the rock, and he rolls my blues away. Sorry. Anyway, but Jesus is our rock, right? And David talks through the Psalms so much about he's my rock. God's my fortress. He's my protector. He's my rescuer, like he's saying here. So he sets my feet on a rock, and he established my steps. He took that clay away. It's no longer slippery. It's no longer sticky. Now I can just walk with God, right? When he brings me out of the emotional pits. And then he says this, he says, he put a new song in my heart. It says mouth. He put a new song in my mouth. Praise to our God. Many will see it and we'll fear and we'll trust in the Lord. Isn't that what we want out of the pit? Is a testimony? Isn't that what peace out is all about? Looking back and going, God brought us out of some stuff. He's walked with us through all of this. He's given us peace through all of this. Now we have a testimony. We can talk about God's sustaining power. We can talk about how his never-ending peace. We can talk about his mercies that are new every single morning that have carried us so far. Look around. Look at what you've been through. You have a testimony. You can look back and go, I didn't know God was with me, but he was. It didn't feel like anybody was with me. I felt like I was alone. I felt like I was lost. I felt like I was in a pit all by myself, and it was dark and it was scary, but God was there. And now we have a testimony, and that's what David's saying. But I want to get down to the last part of and we may have to do this psalm again tomorrow, because there's a whole lot in this, but I'm not writing 40 days in Psalm 40. Although I could, I guess. I thought about it. Anyway, but he started it with, I waited patiently for the Lord, right? That's how he started it. But if we go to the end of this psalm, verses 13 through 17, in verse 13, he says, be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. Or he's going, God, hurry up and help me. Don't wait anymore. Don't hesitate. I need to see your hand right now. So he wasn't as patient as he wanted us to think, right? But he waited patiently. We can wait as patiently as possible for God. Can we just commit to doing that? Because sometimes I'm really patient and I'm going, okay, God, I'm going to put this in your hands. I'm going to trust you with it, and we'll just see how it turns out. Okay, I need to do this though. But hold on a second. I need to do this with it first, or I need to do this with it first, or I need to do that with it first or second. But I'm going to leave it in your hands. Leave it in your hands. I'm leaving it in your hands. But wait a minute. Okay, there's one more thing I can do before I just give it to you, God, because I got to do this. Okay, God, I'm going to put it in your hands. I'm put it in your hands. Except for this part. This part, I've got to, let me do this little thing over here. And sometimes but you know what? The thing is, just keep trying, right? Keep trying to be patient. Keep trying to wait on God. It gets easier. It really does. It gets easier to go, okay, God, I don't get this, but I know you get me. And so we're going to go through this together. And in the middle of it, I'm going to trust you with it. So he's saying, and in the middle of that, David's saying, I waited patiently for you, but you need to hurry up and help me right now, right? But you know what? I love the gut level honesty of that. I love this open psalm where he's going, I waited patiently for God. I prayed, you need to help me right now, God. And then in verse 17, he says this, but I am poor and needy, and that's okay. That's a good place to be in. That's not a negative confession. That's saying, God, I'm smart enough to know that I need you. I may not know a lot of things. I may not be a real smart person, but I'm smart enough to know that I need you, God. I need you in this situation. I need you in this life. I need you in this miry pit, this horrible clay pit. I need you. He says, but then he says, yet the Lord, he says, I am poor and needy, but God thinks about me. How awesome is that? God has his eye on us. God sees us no matter what we're going through, right? Then he says, yet the Lord thinks on me. You are my help and my deliverer. That's a good positive confession right there. Know that no matter what you're facing today, God is your hope. He's your deliverer. If you're in a pit, you're not going to be there forever. God's going to get you out. No story did he leave anybody in the pit. Jeremiah didn't stay in the pit. Jonah didn't stay in the belly of the whale. David didn't stay in the cave. Daniel didn't stay in the lion's den. All of these. Joseph didn't stay in the prison cell. They were there for a time, but they didn't live there forever because God came for them, right? But the last thing he says then, he says, you are my help and my deliverer. That's my confession today. You are my help and my deliverer. And then listen to the last phrase that totally contradicts the very first phrase. Do not delay. Oh my God. I love that. That may be my prayer today. And I'm being funny. It just hit me funny, right? Oh God, do not delay. Oh my God. So he started with, I patiently waited for God, but he ended with, okay, God, I'm as patient as I'm ever going to be. Can you help me now? And you know what's awesome about that? God gets it. He gets it. Those moments where we're going, okay, I'm going to wait on you. I'm going to wait. Hold on. I'm not ready to wait yet. I've got to fix this. Okay, God, I'm going to wait on you. You're my help. You're my strength. You're my deliverer. But wait, hold on. I can do this. And you know what? God gets it. He knows we're human. He just probably sits back and chuckles and goes, well, I know you'll give it to me in a second, and then we'll all work out. It will not last forever. I got you, because he is our help and our deliverer. He helps us when we're in that pit, but he brings us out of that pit too. And then that's when we had that testimony and we go, God has brought me out of a pit, and I waited patiently for him. I just waited on God the whole time. And that's not a lie. It's just that we don't always feel as patient as we say later, right? But the key is this: waiting on God, trusting him, declaring that he's your rock, no matter what's going on around you, declaring that he's your help, no matter what's going on around you, declaring that he's your deliverer and that he is right there with you, whatever your there looks like. And he's got us. That's why we can peace out. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. See you again tomorrow.